Hello, folks. Welcome to our first of two live broadcasts. Tonight, we're starting our July boot camp. And for those of you that are participating, the good news is you didn't have to wait until July. As soon as you register, you're now in a position to jump into it and start talking to people. Because at the end of the day, your success in your business is all about talking to people, closing sales. And the more selective you are about who you talk to, the more successful you're going to be. Now, knowledge is power, but knowledge isn't power until it's applied. You have unlimited access to 675 million professionals on LinkedIn. You have unlimited access to 2.6 billion people on Facebook. But you don't want to talk to all of them. All of them don't need what you have. All of them don't have the qualifications, the aptitude, the skill set to be successful working with you. So the more you can qualify and pre-qualify the people that you're talking to, the better you're going to do. That cliche that you have to go through 100 no's to get a yes is as antiquated in network marketing as using a rotary phone to build your business. And so now we're into the closing part of this process, and I love success stories. And frankly, all of you, every one of you is heading down the road that Carol has been on. All right? Now, Carol reached out to me last night. She's got a couple of people she wants me to look at. So I'm going to jump into her account, and I'm going to show you how it's done. All right? And you have that tool inside Bootcamp as our social networking case studies and chatting strategies that will give you all the information, all of the comebacks, all of the answers when people give you your typical objection. So you're talking to somebody and say, oh, it's a pyramid. Or when somebody says, I don't like this auto ship thing. Or when someone says, I'm just not interested. Or when somebody says, well, I get approached all the time by people who want to sell me this stuff. What do you got? We give you examples of what to say, how to say it, how to position yourself, giving yourself phenomenal credibility. So I'm going to pop over here on LinkedIn. And we're going to jump into Carol's account. And like I said, I love success stories. All right. And where was it? So I got this from Carol on Tuesday. 10 presentations, enrolled 8 customers in 6 days. All right? That's 8 out of 10. That's an 80% closing ratio. Had the best month in June she's ever had. And that's because she is selective about who she's talking to. Advanced one level in her company, her life has changed, and she's having a blast. And all of you are heading down the same road. So, Carol, you gotta feel, if you were going to describe yourself, how you feel in one word, What word would you use? One word. Are you able to talk? You might have your um, you might have your phone muted. I'm thinking of the word invincible. Okay, because you can easily connect with people. So you gave me a list of people.
Hey, can you hear me now?
Now I can.
Oh, good. Invincible is better than what I said. I was saying excited. Invincible, yes. I now know that I can do this.
Mm-hmm. Right. You can pick and choose who you're going to talk to. You can pick and choose the time that you're going to talk to someone. And throughout this entire process, you're totally in control. Totally. And like I said, I'm glad I came up with the word for you, because that seems to be the common description that people give me when, especially, when you've been in the business for as long as you have, and then all of a sudden we've turned on the switch that, again, I have to give you a tremendous amount of credit, because you've mastered the dance, you're following the steps, and you're doing a phenomenal job in two areas. Number one, you're picking great people to talk to. You're identifying quickly the people that, are not ready to do anything, and you're moving on to other people. So all of that. So let's just take a look at some of the people. You got Greg here. And the other thing is, there's a record of everything that you do. So you don't have to remember. Okay. So Greg.
He's real slow to respond. You see, he hasn't looked yet, but
Mm-hmm.
he will.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, LinkedIn has been around for a long time. And 5-6 years ago, before LinkedIn added live chat, it was still a phenomenal social network. You would write to somebody on Monday, they'd write back to you on Thursday, you'd write back to them on Saturday. So the whole communication process was slow to get off the ground. But once you were communicating with somebody and they were looking forward to talking to you, the time between communications would dramatically increase. So literally, where you would send someone a message and they'd write back to you the same day. But when LinkedIn in 2015 added live chat, this thing right here, it changed the whole dynamic of LinkedIn, and LinkedIn has evolved even more since then. And in tonight's boot camp, I'm going to show you some things that are going to blow you away. I mean, literally blow you away, because LinkedIn has added a number of new things that are going to make it easier for all of you to talk to people. So here, Greg is Sales and Operations Director. We come down here. A demonstrated history of work in health, wellness, and fitness. Skilled in coaching, sales, management. Okay? So we come down here, and here he worked as a sales director for Gold's Gym for 13 years. 13 years. And so is he out of work? Is he looking for a job, or what's his story?
Yeah, he was the one that, if I remember right, has been waiting to come back to work, but They gave him a pink slip.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So now, now that brings up a number of issues. So here he was the regional manager for this push pedal equipment company for more than 5.5 years. All right. So now, all right. So this conversation started in May. And how is he being affected by the coronavirus? And I'm one of those waiting to go back to work. What prompted you to get into fitness? So I was on the equipment side of the fitness business for 16 years before I went to work at Gold's. I like helping people. Okay? I like helping people, and it's important to like what you do. So, do you still have some goals you want to reach? I have personal goals, business goals, and fun goals. So what you see here is real communication, okay? We give you the questions to ask. But some people just question. There's got to be dialogue. There has to be interaction. You are establishing a virtual friendship. Virtual. How about you? Now, one of the things that you're going to find, whether you talk to people, and this could be talking to people face to face, talking to people on the phone, or texting. When you ask people a question and they answer it, about 90% of the time they will come back and ask you the same question. It's a natural part of conversation. Okay? Okay? So I kind of joked with Carol a little bit because he said, well, I've got personal goals, I got business goals, and I got fun goals. And you went for the fun. You went for the fun goals first.
Well, I was insecure back then. I was just trying to just chat with people.
Okay,
you know?
right. Okay, you're right. Well, right. And I got it. And so what are those fun goals? Now, but notice what she did here. How about you? So when you ask someone what they do, they come back and ask what you do. So business is all about helping people. I love being an entrepreneur, helping people in my business and seeing them have success. Also, I have several personal goals, keeping fit, plus a long-range goal of improving my 115-year-old farmhouse. So what are your fun goals? You know, I'm a Virgo. What sign are you? My favorite food is Italian. What's your favorite food? So you provide a little bit of information about yourself and they come back. Get out more, ride dirt bikes, love to travel. And I haven't had the chance to get out there as much as I'd like. Okay, so I hope you're enjoying the holiday weekend. Do you have any plans to celebrate? And this was the Memorial Day weekend. All right. Now, is everything almost back to normal? Remember, he's waiting to be called back to work. Okay? So how are you been able to keep everyone in place while you're waiting to open?
You know, Max, I noticed with the people where I'm advancing in the conversation, it's almost like it's a two-part conversation each time. We talk a little casual and then a little business. And it's like it starts happening back and forth. Um, if you notice that each paragraph has those two sections in it.
Bingo. Bingo. And some of the examples we use in the case studies with Zelaya and the Verizon salesperson, the same thing. Talking about music, talking about business. Talking about music, talking about business. And you're right. It should not all be about business. It's got to be conversational. Now, so many trainers I work with have transitioned into digital training. All right, now this was in June the 12th. So he comes back 12 days later. A lot of our trainers worked online, but people are getting tired of being online. We're still closed. I don't know when we're going to open. They have to start looking for a job in another state. So,
you came in.
all right. So yeah, right. So enough of this fun stuff, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And so we sent him this message. I pinch myself every once in a while to make sure I'm not having a wonderful dream. How long has it been since you got paid? And then what we did was we sent him. What happened to it?
Yeah, I don't know what it is with his account. The pictures don't seem to go through, but we did send him a little motivational thing.
Okay. So I haven't been paid since the second week of March. So he hasn't been paid for 90 days. So again, what are your plans? And well, we sent him this for the 4th of July. Because remember, you were a little bit concerned. You know, we sent him this, and we didn't hear anything back. And it's okay to, you know, you write, they write, you write, they write. If they don't write back, it's okay to send them something else to maybe jumpstart the conversation. So we sent them 4th of July. And then hope you had a great weekend.
Yeah, that's where we ended.
All right. So there are probably many things out there that you might enjoy doing that would bring you as much personal satisfaction. And he hasn't even seen it yet. Okay. So how do we know they're not bringing him back?
Right.
Do we know?
No, not yet.
Okay. So this guy's still in limbo. All right? But here's something that you need to consider. Gold's Gym is closing, I think, 30 or 40 different facilities. But they're not going out of business. Okay? So he's worked for them for 13 years. And he needs, and I guarantee he's got some kind of a non-compete agreement that would prevent him from approaching other Gold's employees were he to leave. The only Gold's employees he could reach out to would be former employees of Gold's. So if we come back over here and we look at the message, so there's no indication here of activity, which means, you know, he told you he's not on here that much. So you have to wait. And so in this particular case, this is still a question that's hanging out there. You did this on Tuesday. It's Thursday. So let it sit, okay? And if he doesn't respond back to you, let's say, if he doesn't respond back to you today, tomorrow, what we can do is we can send him some kind of a motivational quote or a post that would keep his spirits up. In fact, let's do that today. So we're going to go over here to Google. And then what we're going to do is we're going to go to Google Images. And let's do a motivational quote about light at the end of a tunnel. Okay, so we don't need one with her picture, but that's kind of where we want to go. And so you got a couple over here. Tunnel is not a train.
How about that one with the cliff right above? There's light at the end of the tunnel. Some tunnels just happen to be longer than others.
Okay. So we'll take this one.
The picture isn't as dark as some of those.
Right.
Others.
All right, so we'll take this, copy it. Now this is a feature that has changed on LinkedIn. Okay? Last year you couldn't do this. You'd have to download the image to your computer and then upload it with a file. Now you just paste it right in there. Okay? So we're gonna say you'd appreciate it. All right, we hit enter. And again, we're communicating with people in a positive way. And I mean, this, folks, is what it's all about. So while she's engaging this person in a conversation, the qualification process is going on. Now, I want to come back over here to this document. And I want to, Pete Olson is the top earner in his business. We worked together about 9 years ago when he was building the Numis network, and within 4 months he became one of the top earners in his company. The Numis network ended up shutting down, and all of their people followed their leaders over to World Ventures. He didn't want to build travel, so he found another metals company. He's the top earner in the company, and he has introduced my program to all of the people in the company. But he sent me this because this is very relevant. Max, I had a good question today from one of my downline, and he asked, why is it better to go through a dance with a prospect with all the 12 success questions that could span days or weeks to get through it all versus just asking, Bob, are you keeping your options open to making money if it doesn't interfere with what you're currently doing? He said, isn't that faster? more direct and to the point, and you get a yes or a no right away as if they're open or not. He typed, I thought it was a good question, a great question. And then he wrote, I think I already know your answer. I think your answer is because when you take the time to dance with someone, you are qualifying them, and you'll have a better chance of them saying yes to looking at your opportunity than if you just ask that one question directly. I think also you would say that it doesn't matter how long it takes you to get through the questions. If you have enough conversations going, your pipeline is full, and the conversations will finish when they finish. And when your pipeline is full, you'll get more yeses to looking at your opportunity. And of course, with more people looking at your opportunity, the more closes you will have. Am I right on that? He is 100% right. And that's why Carol is closing 8 out of 10 people she talks to. Now, sure, we could go back and we could hit 30 people a day. Hit 30 people a day. With, Bob, are you keeping your options open to making money? 40 people a day. 50 people a day. 250 people a week. 1,000 people a month. Just reach out to people. Hey, are you keeping your options open to making money? And, I mean, folks, if you've tried it, you know it doesn't work. Or if it does work, it doesn't work very well. I'll take 8 out of 10 every time. Every time. Follow the skips. Pay attention to the other person and have patience. It's all about patience. It's all about learning about the other person. Okay? So that's what it's all about. Let's take a look at one more. Whoops. What was, I look it up over here. Carol, what was another name? Do you have one handy?
We could look at Anthony Haynes.
Anthony?
Anthony. I haven't answered him. In fact, he kind of fell through the cracks, but it's never too late.
Well, you know, I'm glad you mentioned that because nothing falls through the cracks. When I say nothing, I mean things are going to fall through the cracks, right? You're going to miss people. But the thing is that you could resurrect, you know, we could be in at the end of September and you could come back and pick it up like it didn't end. Okay?
Yeah, this one's just for, a kind of a new conversation back in
Okay.
June.
So Anthony says he's looking for a new opportunity. And he says here, I'm seeking a new career. Now this is a new element of LinkedIn, open to work. And so it says here, but get support from the community by joining 3 million members who are sharing they're open to get started. Well, that means they're telling you that 3 million out of the 675 million people are filling out this feature. Okay? So we come down here. I'm a health and fitness professional. And with 27 years in fitness, you have to know he knows all about network marketing. Now, we'll come down here and look at his background. Wellness coordinator, fitness director for 20 years.
Actually, in a hospital situation.
Mm-hmm.
So they often have a fitness section.
Yep. And then he's for a year, he started Gym Guys. And so it looks like since he's been looking for over a year. So obviously the question is, what is he currently doing?
Yeah, he said he had two businesses.
Let's see. So he didn't answer. Okay. Corona stuff has messed me up. I have two companies. One is more of a hobby but still make decent money. Okay.
Well, but I think he means that it did make me decent money and it's been majorly affected. Or maybe it's kind of hard to tell.
Well, so remember, the answers, the questions that we're going to ask come from the last response. So he says, I hope you're doing well. So doing S-U-R-P-R-I-S surprisingly well. Considering how many people are searching for new jobs. Now, my internet business has exploded over the past 90 days. Now, he's going to come back, he's going to ask you about your business. Now, what we're not going to do is we're not going to say, would you like to know all about what I'm doing? Some people will go so far as, well, here's a link to it, and they turn it into a commercial. What you do is you bring the conversation back to them. Corona stuff has truly messed me up. So let's address that. We could say, C-O-R-O-N-A, the Corona situation has messed up a lot of people. That are in the same boat you are. It's my boating background. I guess So I'm doing surprisingly well considering how many people are searching for new jobs. My internet business has exploded over the last 90 days. Now what we want to do is talk about him. I have two companies. One is more of a hobby. So at least okay, so let's say thankfully at least you have two companies okay, now he says, I have two companies. Okay, one is more of a hobby, but still made decent money. But they've both been majorly affected. Can't wait until this election is over. So all this can be behind us for a couple of years. And so we could talk about that. So we're talking about, it's July 9th. July, August, September, October, November. It's 4 months. Let me just look at my calendar really quick and see when is election day in November. It's going to be November the 3rd. So we're going to say, you're right. Things will start to change. Third. No, okay, no, it would be November. It's November 3rd. Right now, gotta love spell check. Gotta love spell check.
Mm-hmm.
Thankfully, at least you have two companies. That are keeping you afloat. You know, that boating person again. Okay.
Now get rid of that MO on that second paragraph right after November 3rd.
Ah, yes. Okay, so now the question that we want to ask, what's the question?
Just simply, what do you do?
Right. What are those two companies all about?
Mm-hmm.
About. You didn't list it on your profile. So we can say here, you didn't list on your profile. Sneaky person. What are your two companies all about? Boom. So again, it's a matter of conversation, people. Conversation. We are qualifying people as we talk to them. We're learning what they know. We learn what they do. First, we want to find out, what does he do? What's he doing now? Then we have some phenomenal new scripts that we're going to be sharing with everybody moving into tonight's boot camp. Well, Diane wants to know, well, how did Carol open up the conversation? Well, we have Diane a number of conversation starters. And we're going to go over all of that in boot camp tonight. And again, in the document here that we have, we're going to give you the conversation starters for Facebook, conversation starters for first, second conversation starters for Facebook, conversation starters for LinkedIn, and we also have a strategy where you can give social network advice to new connections that don't have their email addresses listed or their birthdays listed. Okay? And this kind of puts the whole process together. All right? Now, we're going to be back today at 4 o'clock. And we'll do one more session tonight. Boot camp starts at 9 o'clock. And I would suggest, for those of you that are in boot camp, if you wanted to get a little bit ahead, you could watch the I got to tell you something. Tonight's boot camp is so totally different then we're still covering the same subject, creating your profile. But so many things have changed that tonight we're going to be introducing a whole new concept and an additional layer of conversation and an additional layer of how you can position yourself as someone that the person on the other side that you're talking to would absolutely want to talk to. Okay? That's what it's all about. Quality over quantity. Quality over quantity. And like I said, Carol talks to 10 people about the business, signs up 8. 8 out of 10. And of course, the best part of this is duplication. So Carol, have any of your people that you brought in, are any of them starting to duplicate yet?
Yes.
And that
yes, we are. And we've got presentations set up. This is moving so fast. I'm amazed. I really am. I mean, if I had done this 15 years ago, life had been so different.
Yeah. Well, listen. If you had started this 15 years ago, you'd be the top distributor in any company you're in.
I know, and I've been following you for about that length of time too.
Well, yeah. Well,
I never jumped in.
Well, that's what and that comes back. See, knowledge isn't power until it's applied.
Amen to that. I'd attend like once in a while one of your webinars, and I loved it, but life didn't allow it at the time.
Well, the good news is you're doing it now.
Yep.
And so for all of you, knowledge is power when you apply it. And what we're going to be sharing with all of you in the upcoming 90 days will be transformational for all of you that take the steps, make yourself visible on these social networks, devote some time to talking to people, and you are all on your way to living your dreams and achieving the goals that cause you to jump into network marketing as a business opportunity.